Welcome to the Literature Room Poetry Series, which intends to handle figures of speech in the selected poems for the WAEC NECO UTME 2026-2030 literature syllabus. We begin with reading of the poem Digging by Henny Simmers. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests, snug as a gun. Under my window, a clean rasping sound when the spake sinks into gravelly ground. My father digging. I look down till his training ramp among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. A coarse boot nestled on the hog, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. By God, the old man could handle a spade just like his old man. My grandfather caught more tough in a day than any other man on Toner's back. Once I carried him milk in a bottle, corked slopingly with paper. He straightened up to drink it, then fell to right away, knitting and slicing neatly, heaving swords over his shoulder, going down and down for the good stuff, digging. My grandfather could cut more stuff in a day than any other man in Toner's bog. Cut of an edge through living roots awaken in my head, but I have no spade to follow men like them. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. I will dig with it. Now, the first figure of speech or scheme is merism, which is a reference to two qualities or parts represented as a whole, the form of a copper pie. We find this in stanza 1 and the lines between my finger and my thumb. It gives an idea of a firm and masterful grip of the pen. The line conjures up a hand holding a pen while writing. It also suggests the might of putting down one's thoughts. The next figure of speech is metaphor, which indicates a direct comparison of two entities where one is described in the quality of the other. We find this in lines 5, 9, and 24, where it reads, my father digging, where he was digging, and for the good stuff digging. The idea of digging in the poem relates to a number of things. First, it relates to farming as a manual job. Second, to writing as an employment. And third, as an art of recollecting the past. In this regard, heritage is central in both farming and literary engagement, that is, farming and writing. The next is stooping in rhythm through potato drills. So in line 8, it gives an idea of the father engrossed in executing the task ahead of him with a certain degree of harmony, like music. Then the last is through living roots awaken in my head. I have no spade to follow men like them. Reference is made to the power of imaginative writing, for example, poetry, which the poet persona opts for as his new occupation rather than a heritage of farming. We have simile, which is a literary device that unifies a quality using as or like. An example in the poem is between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. snug as a gun. In this way, the pen is viewed as an easier occupation, a mighty occupation that is suggested by the word squat and gun. It also infers the effectiveness or influence of the pen at yielding results that have far-reaching effects. And we have synesthesia, which is a figurative expression where a sensation is described in terms of another. It is a type of metaphor. And in the poem, we have to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands. It gives an idea of something that is healthy, of something that is firm. Now, sensory and thermal sensations are used to depict hardness, which is a sense of touch, and cool gives an idea of thermal variation. This means a good yield of potatoes and by extension, a bumper harvest. And we have the cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap. Here, sensory and thermal sensations are conjured in the poem, e.g., it gives a sense of smell, which appeals to our olfactory sense, and in the same thing we find in smell and odor and touch. And also, it gives the tactile sense of cold. It reveals the condition under which the crop grows well. And we have exclamatio, which is a rhetorical device that expresses strong feelings and emotions. And here it is used to emphasize the expression made by the poet. In the poem, we have, by God, the old man could handle a spade just like his old man. It's used to express a moment of astonishment, of admiration. And in this context, the personal poet admires the way both his father and grandfather handled the spade expertly. That means they were seasoned farmers. And we have symbolism. This literary device functions on the principle of representation, using the concrete to conjure up ideas, emotions, and deep meanings. And in the first, we find this in the line, the squat pen rests, I will dig with it. And the pen represents the tool used by the poet persona to make his personal history or cultural heritage come to life. It shows soft, sedentary skills, mostly intellectual. And in the next line, we have a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. And the symbols here are of ground or soil, which conjures up the idea of productivity, of fertility and life. It also serves as the source of the poet's fertile imagination, something that inspires a sense of history. And we have spade or spake, and this symbolizes employment and heritage that defines hard skills or physical labor. And we have the line stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. And here we have the symbol of potato, which refers to the staple food that constitutes the mainstay of rural economy. It also alludes to the poet's personal cultural heritage, which is Irish. And finally, we have once I carried him milk in a bottle corked slopingly with paper. The symbol here is milk. It gives an idea of the dietary habits of rural life, part of the food they take to refresh when they are engaged in manual labor. Make it to the next literature room series. Bye.